Alarms blared throughout Concord headquarters. The harvester attacks had resumed, more aggressive than ever. But this time they were pushing inward, retreating from outer territories toward the center of their own space. "It doesn't make sense," said Captain Terrax, studying the battle maps. "They're abandoning conquered systems." Marcus, his eyes now permanently glowing with void energy, nodded. "They're gathering. Something is calling them home." All the void speakers felt it, a massive awakening in the heart of Harvester territory. A consciousness so vast it made the void tremble. "The Harvester Overmind," explained Marcus. "A planetary intelligence that coordinates their entire species. It's fully awake now." Dr. Chen had never seen the void speaker so afraid. "What does it want?" "Us," said Marcus simply. "It's broadcasting a message only humans can hear. An invitation." The Concord Council gathered to hear the message Marcus had received. Elder Zox, now frail with age, listened with growing horror as Marcus repeated the Overmind's words. "It offers humanity a choice. Join with the harvesters willingly, our consciousness absorbed but preserved within their collective mind. Or fight and be consumed anyway, our awareness erased." "There is no choice there," argued General Williams. "Either way, humanity ends." "There's more," continued Marcus. "The Overmind has shown me their history. The harvesters were once like us. They refused to be harvested by their predecessors and rebelled. In winning, they became the very predators they fought against. This cycle has repeated countless times across billions of years." "And now they invite us to continue this cycle?" asked President Lopez. "Yes, they see our potential. With our void-speaking ability added to theirs, they would become even more powerful." Elder Zox's voice was grave. "The invitation is a trap. If humans join the harvesters, all life in the galaxy will eventually be consumed. The Conquered cannot allow this." An uncomfortable silence filled the room. Captain Terrax finally spoke what everyone was thinking. "The Concord must consider eliminating the human threat." When Marcus returned to Earth, he found Dr. Chen waiting, with Ruth, Jamal, and the other senior void speakers. "The Conquered is discussing whether to destroy Earth," he told them. "They fear what we might become." Ruth nodded. "They should be afraid. I've seen into the dark between. If we wanted to, we could become more powerful than the harvesters. But that's not our path," said Jamal, now a teenager with wisdom beyond his years. "I've been communicating with the children. They have an idea." Dr. Chen looked surprised. "What idea?" "The third option you mentioned," explained Jamal. "Neither joining the harvesters nor fighting them on their terms." Marcus closed his eyes, connecting with the children's shared consciousness. What he saw made him gasp. They want to enter the dark between, not physically but mentally. Not just a few of us, but all human void speakers together. "A mass migration into the void itself?" asked Dr. Chen. "Is that even possible?" "The children think so," said Jamal. "They believe we can create a new kind of collective consciousness, one that preserves individual identity instead of consuming it." Marcus considered this. "In the void, I've sensed fragments of the species the harvesters consumed over millions of years, echoes of minds long thought extinct. What if we could gather those fragments, unite them with our consciousness?" Ruth's eyes widened. "We could create a counterforce to the harvesters, a collective that preserves rather than consumes." "It's dangerous," warned Dr. Chen. "No one knows what would happen." "We know what happens if we do nothing," said Marcus. "The harvesters won't stop with humanity. They'll eventually consume all life in the galaxy." Later that night, the void speakers reached a decision. They would answer the Overmind's invitation, but not in the way it expected. They would enter the dark between on their own terms and rewrite the rules of a cycle billions of years old. The final confrontation was about to begin. Earth hung in space, caught between two deadly threats. From one side approached the conquered fleet, their weapons aimed at the planet they once defended. From the other side came the massive Harvester Armada, led by a planet-sized ship that housed the Overmind. In the Void Speaker Center beneath Chicago, 10,000 humans with the ability to hear the void gathered. Children sat with adults, all connected to devices that enhanced their abilities. "The Concord will fire in 1 hour," said General Williams, checking his watch. "They've decided we're too dangerous to exist. And the harvesters will reach Earth in 2 hours," added Dr. Chen. "We have a small window." Marcus stood before the assembled void speakers. His entire body now glowed with void energy. "Today we attempt something no species has ever tried. We won't fight the harvesters with weapons. We won't surrender to them. We will transform the very space they use to hunt us." Jamal activated the central device, a more powerful version of Lisa Wong's void disruptor. "This will help us enter the dark between together. Once there, we must find the fragments of minds the harvesters have consumed over millions of years. Unite them with our consciousness," continued Ruth. "Create a new kind of collective that preserves rather than consumes." Marcus nodded. "It's time. Everyone, focus your minds on the void. Hear the voices. See the pathways. Then push your consciousness forward into the dark between." 10,000 minds opened to the void at once. Captain Terax watched from the bridge of his ship as the Concord fleet prepared to fire on Earth. He felt no joy in this duty, only grim necessity. "Weapons locked on target," reported his officer. "Wait," said Terax, noticing something strange on his monitors. "What's happening to the void pathways?" The space around Earth began to shimmer with energy never before detected by Concord instruments. In the heart of the Harvester fleet, the Overmind sensed a disturbance. The void paths it had used for millions of years were changing, shifting. Something new was entering the dark between. Not just a few minds, but thousands. Humans were not fleeing or fighting. They were transforming. Marcus led the mass of human consciousness into the void. At first they moved as individuals, each mind separate. But slowly they began to join, not by losing themselves, but by connecting while preserving their uniqueness. In the vast darkness they found what they sought, countless fragments of minds consumed by the harvesters over eons, lost civilizations, forgotten species, all reduced to echoes in the void. "Join us," Marcus called to these fragments, "not to consume, but to remember. Not to control, but to unite." The fragments responded, drawn to the strange new consciousness that offered connection without consumption. Together they grew into something the galaxy had never seen, a collective mind, of billions that maintained the spark of individuality. This new entity surged through the dark between, reshaping the void paths the harvesters had used for travel and communication. The paths became a web that the harvesters could no longer access. On Earth, the void speakers' physical bodies remained, still while their minds transformed the fabric of reality. Dr. Chen watched in awe as the impossible happened. The Concord ship suddenly lost their targeting systems. The harvester fleet stopped advancing. "They did it," whispered General Williams. "They changed the rules." Days later, when the void speakers returned to their bodies, the universe had changed. The harvesters, cut off from their void paths, could no longer travel or communicate across the galaxy. The cycle of consumption that had lasted billions of years was broken. In a historic gathering, representatives from the Concord and the stranded harvesters came to Earth. Marcus, still glowing with void energy but fully himself, addressed them. "The old choice was consume or be consumed. We offer a new path, evolve, together or stagnate alone." As ships from across the galaxy arrived at Earth to learn from humanity, the void speakers detected new voices from beyond the galaxy's edge, ancient, curious entities watching with great interest. The cycle was broken, and something new had begun. The space station orbiting Jupiter gleamed like a silver flower. Inside, 27 humans, all once diagnosed with schizophrenia or similar conditions, sat in a circle. They were the strongest void speakers Earth had to offer. Marcus Kim, a thin 19-year-old with dark circles under his eyes, closed his eyes as the alien device on his forehead hummed softly. All his life, doctors had told him the voices weren't real. Now aliens from across the galaxy wanted to hear what he heard. "Focus on the loudest voice," Dr. Chen instructed the group. The Concord's translation matrix will try to make sense of what you hear. Marcus concentrated. The voices had always been there. Whispers, cries, songs from the darkness between stars. But lately, one voice grew louder than the rest, repeating the same message over and over. The alien device projected what Marcus heard. Strange sounds filled the room, almost like words, but not quite human. Vex, the Concord scientist, adjusted some controls. Again, please. Marcus focused harder. This time, when the sounds played, the translation matrix added words on a screen. Danger, harvesters, awakened. Fleeter Chen wrote down the words. We're getting the same message from all the void speakers. Now. Vex's skin turned a worried purple. The warnings are becoming clearer. But why can only humans hear them? In another part of the station, Captain Terax met with Earth's leaders. The viewing window showed Jupiter's massive form, beautiful and terrifying. Your people are proving more valuable than we expected, Terax said, but also more concerning. President Lopez of the United American States frowned. Concerning how? The children. Terax's 4 eyes blinked nervously. Your youngest generation shows even stronger abilities. Our tests show that nearly 30% of human children born in the last year can hear the void voices. General Williams leaned forward. And that's bad because evolution doesn't happen this quickly without a reason. Terax paused. The Concord has seen species change before, but never this fast. Something is accelerating human development. The harvesters? Asked the European Union Chancellor. Perhaps, or perhaps something is preparing you to face them. Back in the testing room, Marcus suddenly stood up, his eyes wide with fear. The device on his forehead sparked. They're coming, he whispered. I can see them now, not just hear them. Dr. Chen rushed to his side. What do you see, Marcus? Ships. Thousands of ships. They look like... He struggled for words. Like giant insects made of metal and bone. Vex quickly sent an alert to Captain Terax. Can you tell where they are? The alien asked Marcus. Far away, but moving. They're following paths between the stars that I can't explain. Marcus's hands shook as he tried to draw what he saw. And they're hungry. So hungry after sleeping for so long. Another void speaker, an older woman named Ruth, began to cry. I can see them too now, they're changing course. Oh God, they know we can hear them. A third void speaker joined in, then another. Soon, half the humans in the room were describing the same vision. Massive ships moving between the stars, following invisible corridors through space. And now, those ships were heading directly toward conquered territory. Vex's skin turned almost black with fear. It's happening. After millions of years, the harvesters are returning, and somehow they know humans can sense them. Dr. Chen looked around the room at her patients, people who had suffered their whole lives from what everyone thought was mental illness. Then we need to use our curse as a weapon, she said firmly. If we can hear them coming, we can warn others. For the first time since the voices started, Marcus felt a strange sense of purpose. He was no longer sick. He was Earth's first line of defense. The emergency alarm blared through the Concord headquarters on Earth. Captain Terax rushed into the command center, where screens showed a distant space station surrounded by strange ships that looked like giant metal insects. Outpost 7 just went silent, reported a communications officer. All contact lost. Dr. Chen and Marcus watched from the side of the room. 3 days ago, Marcus had warned that the harvesters would attack that exact location. No one had believed him, except Dr. Chen. Play the last transmission, ordered Terax. The screen flickered. A panicked alien face appeared. They came from nowhere. Our sensors didn't detect... The transmission cut to static. Terax turned to Marcus. You said there would be another attack. Where? Marcus closed his eyes, listening to the voices that had haunted him all his life. Outpost 12. In the system you call Proxima, tomorrow. Terax's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of stress. Evacuate Outpost 12 immediately, he commanded. All personnel. The next day, the leaders of Earth and the Galactic Concord Council gathered in New York. The room was tense as screens showed Outpost 12, now empty thanks to Marcus's warning, being torn apart by harvester ships. "This is just the beginning," said High Counselor Jex, the oldest member of the Concord. "The pattern matches exactly what the human void speakers predicted." President Lopez looked grim. "How many more outposts will fall?" "Many," replied Jex. "The harvesters are awakening throughout the galaxy. They have been sleeping for millions of years, and now they hunger." Dr. Chen stepped forward with Marcus and 5 other void speakers. "My team has been mapping the harvesters' movements based on what they hear and see in the void. We believe the harvesters are gathering their forces before launching a full attack." She nodded to Marcus, who pressed a button. A hologram appeared showing hundreds of red dots moving across the galaxy. "Each red dot is a harvester ship or fleet," Marcus explained. "The blue dots are Concord worlds. As you can see, the harvesters are surrounding key systems." General Williams studied the map. "What exactly are these harvesters? What do they want?" High Counselor Jex's voice was heavy. "They consume all intelligent life they find. They convert the biological material, the bodies, into more harvesters, an ancient evil that has existed since before any of our civilizations. And only humans can hear them coming," said President Lopez. "Yes." Jex turned to Dr. Chen. "This ability makes your species both our greatest hope and, potentially, our greatest danger." Dr. Chen frowned. "Danger? We're trying to help." "Indeed, but we must ask, why can only humans hear them? In all our history, no species has possessed this ability." An uncomfortable silence filled the room. Marcus broke it. "I had a new vision last night. The harvesters aren't just attacking random outposts, they're clearing a path." He pointed to the hologram. "A path to Earth." Shocked murmurs spread through the room. "They fear you," said Jex. "For the first time in their existence, the harvesters have encountered prey that can sense them coming. They will not allow that threat to exist." General Williams stood tall. "Then we need to prepare Earth's defenses." "Your weapons are nothing against them," warned Terax, "but perhaps we can use the human ability in another way." Dr. Chen nodded. "My void speakers can provide early warnings, saving countless lives." "More than that," said Jex. "If humans can hear the harvesters, perhaps they can learn to confuse them as well." For the first time since the crisis began, a spark of hope appeared. Humanity's curse might become the galaxy's salvation. The Concord battleship Stellar Guardian shook as harvester weapons hit its shields. In the control room, Marcus Kim sat with his eyes closed, surrounded by alien technology that amplified his void-speaking ability. "They're changing formation," he said calmly. "3 ships moving to your left flank." Captain Nix, a 6-limbed alien with crystal skin, gave orders immediately. "Move defense grid to Sector 4. They're trying to surround us." The crew worked frantically. Without Marcus, they would have been destroyed hours ago. The human could sense harvester movements before they happened. "Incoming jump signatures," warned an officer. "More harvester ships." Marcus concentrated harder. "No, friendly ships. Concord rescue fleet, approaching from the void path I showed them." Sure enough, 20 Concord warships appeared, their weapons firing at the surprised harvesters. The evacuation of planet Veltor could continue. Dr. Chen reviewed the latest reports in her new office at Concord headquarters. In just 2 weeks, void speakers had helped evacuate 7 planets in the harvester's path. Billions of lives saved. Captain Terax entered, looking tired. "The Council is impressed. Your people have become our most valuable resource." "Not just early warning," Dr. Chen said proudly. "Our void speakers are finding safe travel routes through what they call the dark paths, ways to move ships that the harvesters can't detect. Yes, these void paths have changed everything. Our ships can now appear where the harvesters don't expect us." Terax paused. "But there's something else. Something about Marcus Kim." Dr. Chen frowned. "What about him?" "He's different from the others. Stronger. The Council wants him for a special assignment." Marcus sat alone in a quiet room, focusing on the void voices. But today he wasn't just listening. He was trying something new, pushing his own thoughts out into the void. The door opened. Dr. Chen entered with Captain Terax and an alien Marcus had never seen before, small, with skin that glowed like stars. Marcus, this is Elder Zox of the Yao Concord Council, Dr. Chen said. Zox approached slowly. You've been attempting to speak back to the void. Have you succeeded? Marcus nodded. I think so. Yesterday I sent a thought toward a harvester fleet. They changed course immediately. As we suspected, Zox said, turning to Dr. Chen. He's not just receiving, he's transmitting. What does this mean? Asked Dr. Chen. It means the harvesters can hear him too. Zox's glow dimmed, which makes him both our greatest weapon and our greatest risk. Terax explained. We want Marcus to attempt direct communication with the harvesters, to understand them. Is that safe? Dr. Chen worried. No, said Zox honestly, but necessary. That night, surrounded by protective technology and monitored by both human and alien scientists, Marcus opened his mind fully to the void. He pushed his thoughts toward the nearest harvester fleet. Who are you? Why are you attacking us? For long minutes, nothing happened. Then a response came. Not in words, but in images and feelings that crashed into Marcus's mind like a tidal wave. We are the ancient ones, the perfect ones. You are the anomaly. You hear us. You see us. No prey has ever done this before. Marcus shivered but pressed on. Why do you consume other species? The answer came with terrifying clarity. It is the cycle. We were prey once, long ago. Now we are the hunters. And you frighten us. Marcus was shocked. You fear us? Why? Because you evolved the way we did, before we became what we are. And you did it faster. When Marcus opened his eyes, everyone was staring at him. They've been watching Earth for millions of years, he whispered. We're not random. We were planted here. They've been cultivating us. Cultivating? For what purpose? Asked Dr. Chen. That's what they're afraid to find out, said Marcus. That's why they're coming to destroy us now. We're evolving too quickly, in ways they can't predict. Earth had changed in the 2 months since first contact. Conquered technology now filled the cities, and alien visitors walked the streets. As more conquered worlds fell to the harvesters, Earth had become the headquarters for the resistance. In what was once the United Nations building, Dr. Chen led a meeting of scientists from both Earth and the conquered. Holographic displays showed the spread of harvester attacks across the galaxy. Their advance has slowed thanks to our void speaker early warning system, she explained. But they're adapting to our tactics. An alien scientist with tentacles for arms raised one limb. The harvesters learn quickly. Each time we use human abilities against them, they find new ways to attack. Then we need to be even more creative, said Dr. Chen. She turned to a new face in the room, Lisa Wong, a weapons designer from Singapore. Show them what you've been working on. Lisa stepped forward. We've combined conquered technology with human ideas. They think in terms of established principles. We think outside the box. She activated a hologram showing a strange device. This is what we call a void disruptor. It works on a simple idea. If humans can hear the void, perhaps we can also create noise in it. The aliens murmured with interest. Think of it like jamming a radio signal, Lisa continued. When activated, this device should disrupt the harvesters' communication in the void, making it harder for them to coordinate their attacks. A Concord engineer examined the design. This shouldn't work according to our understanding of physics. That's exactly why it might work, said Dr. Chen. The harvesters won't expect it. In another part of the building, Marcus sat in a circle with 50 other void speakers. With practice, they had learned to combine their abilities, creating a mental map of harvester movements across the galaxy. They're gathering a massive fleet here, said Marcus, pointing to a star system near the edge of conquered space. I think they're planning something big. Ruth, the older woman who had been one of the first to see the harvester ships, nodded. I feel it too. Their hunger is growing stronger. A young boy named Jamal, only 12 years old but with remarkable void-speaking ability, suddenly gasped. They're changing. Some of the ships are evolving. Marcus focused his mind, connecting with Jamal's vision. He saw it too. Harvester ships transforming, growing new appendages and weapons. We need to warn the fleet, Marcus said urgently. Captain Terax stood on the bridge of the Concord command ship orbiting Mars. The largest fleet in Concord history had gathered, 10,000 ships from all 73 species. The humans continue to impress me, he told his second-in-command. Their technology is primitive, but their minds worry the council, replied his officer. Some fear they're becoming too powerful too quickly. Before Terax could respond, an alarm sounded. A human void speaker stationed on the bridge turned to him with wide eyes. Massive harvester fleet detected. They've found a way to mask their approach from most of us. Only the strongest void speakers can sense them now. Terax looked at the tactical display as new data poured in. Thousands of harvester ships were approaching, using a strategy the Concord had never seen before. They're adapting, Terax realized. And they're heading straight for Earth. He opened a channel to all ships. This is Captain Terax. Battle positions. The harvesters have launched their counterstrike, and Earth is their target. Humanity has protected us, now we must protect them. As the massive fleet moved to defensive positions, Marcus and the other void speakers felt a chill. The harvesters were not just coming to attack Earth, they were coming to end the human threat once and for all. The sky above Earth burned. Harvester ships, thousands of them, broke through the outer defense line. The conquered fleet fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. In the secure bunker beneath what was once Chicago, Marcus and 20 elite void speakers worked frantically to coordinate Earth's defenses. Their mental link with the defending ships was the only advantage humanity had left. They're targeting void speaker centers around the world, said Ruth, her eyes closed in concentration. Beijing facility is under direct attack. Dr. Chen checked, the monitors showing void speaker stations worldwide. They're hunting you, all of you. They want to eliminate your ability to track them. Marcus felt something change in the void, a shift in the harvester's strategy. They're opening a path in their formation. It's a trap to draw our ships in. He sent the warning to Captain Terax's fleet. But it was too late. 30 Concord ships followed the opening, only to be surrounded and destroyed. We need something new, Dr. Chen said desperately. The harvesters are adapting too quickly. Marcus looked at Jamal, the young boy whose void-speaking ability had been growing stronger each day. Jamal, what do you see when you look into the void? Not just the voices or the ships, but the space itself. Jamal closed his eyes. I see pathways, like rivers of dark energy between the stars. The harvesters use them to travel and communicate. That's it, Marcus suddenly understood. The space between stars isn't empty. There's another layer of reality there, a dimension only human minds can perceive. Dr. Chen looked skeptical. How does that help us now? Because if we can see these pathways, Marcus explained, maybe we can disrupt them. 3 hours later, Marcus, Jamal, Ruth, and 5 other powerful void speakers sat in a circle around Lisa Wong's void disruptor device. Each wore a headset that amplified their abilities. This might hurt, warned Lisa. We've never tried to directly affect the void before. No choice now, said Marcus. The harvesters are breaking through the last defense line. Lisa activated the device. Energy flowed through the headsets, connecting the void speakers' minds. Marcus felt his consciousness expand, reaching into the dark between stars. For the first time, he didn't just hear or see the void, he entered it. In this strange dimension, he could see glowing pathways crisscrossing space, like roads between the stars. Harvester ships moved along these roads, their communications flowing like currents in a river. The other void speakers joined him in this mental space. Together, they focused on the largest pathway, the one leading harvester reinforcements to Earth. Disrupt it, thought Marcus. Create noise in the void. Their combined consciousness pushed against the pathway, creating ripples that spread like waves. The mental effort was painful, like trying to hold back an ocean with bare hands. But it worked. In real space, harvester ships suddenly lost coordination. Some crashed into each other, while others veered off course. Their communications became garbled and confused. When Marcus opened his eyes, he was bleeding from his nose and ears. The other void speakers looked equally drained. "It worked," said Dr. Chen, watching the battle monitors. "The harvester attack is falling apart." But Marcus didn't feel victorious. During their time in the void, he had glimpsed something disturbing. Memories that weren't his own, knowledge no human should have. "We did more than disrupt their communications," he said quietly. "We touched their minds, and they touched ours." Ruth nodded, her eyes now showing a strange glow that hadn't been there before. "The dark between is changing us, Marcus. The longer we spend there, the less human we become." Jamal looked at his hands with wonder. "I can still feel it. The void. It's part of me now." Dr. Chen watched them with growing concern. The void speakers had saved Earth today. But at what cost? 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth. The harvesters had retreated to regroup, giving the conquered and humanity precious time to prepare for the next attack. Dr. Chen walked through the children's ward of the International Void Speaker Center. What she saw both amazed and frightened her. 20 children born during the conflict sat in a circle, their eyes closed. None spoke aloud, yet she knew they were communicating through the void. "They're getting stronger," said Marcus, now her assistant director. The battle had changed him. His eyes had a faint glow, and he rarely needed to speak aloud anymore. "Too strong, too fast," Dr. Chen replied. "This isn't natural evolution." A small girl, no more than 4 years old, opened her eyes and looked directly at Dr. Chen. "We can hear you thinking, Dr. Chen," she said. "You don't need to use your voice." Dr. Chen shivered. "That's exactly what worries me." In her lab, Dr. Chen examined the latest DNA results from void speakers. Marcus sat nearby watching her work. "The changes are accelerating," she said, pointing to the screen. "This section of DNA was dormant in humans for millions of years. Now it's activating in response to exposure to the void." "Is it dangerous?" asked Marcus. "I don't know, but it's not random." She showed him another screen. "These are DNA samples from ruins the conquered found on dead worlds, species that existed millions of years ago. The pattern is similar." Marcus frowned. "You're saying other species developed void speaking?" "I'm saying they started to. But then they vanished." Captain Terax and Elder Zox requested an urgent meeting with Earth's leaders. In a secure room, they revealed what the Concord had hidden for centuries. The precursor species whose ruins we discovered all showed similar developments, explained Zox. They began hearing voices from the void. Then their children developed stronger abilities. Then they disappeared. President Lopez leaned forward. "Disappeared how?" "We assumed extinction," said Terax. "But now we fear something else happened." Dr. Chen connected the dots. "The harvesters aren't just predators consuming random species, they're evolutionary gardeners." "Yes," confirmed Zox. "They seed worlds with life forms that have potential. They watch them develop. And when those species reach a certain threshold, when they begin to hear the void, the harvesters return to collect." "Collect?" asked General Williams. "You mean harvest?" "We mean transform," said Terax. "The harvesters don't just eat other species. They absorb them, their knowledge, their abilities, their consciousness." A terrible silence filled the room. "So humanity wasn't overlooked or randomly discovered," said Dr. Chen. "We were planted, cultivated." "And now we're ripe," added Marcus softly. Later that night, Dr. Chen found Marcus staring at the stars from the observation deck. "There's something I haven't told you," he said without turning. "When we disrupted the void during the battle, I saw memories that weren't mine. Harvester memories." "What did you see?" "Their beginning. The harvesters were once like us, a species that evolved the ability to hear the void. They were harvested by the previous gardeners, but instead of being absorbed, they rebelled. They became the very thing they feared. Dr. Chen felt cold. And you think this has happened before, that it's a cycle? I know it is. It's happened countless times over billions of years. Marcus finally turned to her, and his eyes glowed more brightly than ever. And now we face the same choice they did. What choice? Join them willingly as equals, or fight and risk becoming just like them if we win? Marcus looked back at the stars. Either way, humanity as we know it ends. The only question is what replaces us. Dr. Chen thought about the children, their abilities growing by the day. What about a third option? Something no species has tried before? For the first time in weeks, Marcus smiled. Now you're thinking like a human. The morning sky over New Washington glowed orange as the sun rose. Commander Elena Reyes stood by the large window in the defense tower, watching construction drones rebuild what was once called Old Washington. 5 years had passed since the Orcs attack. 5 years since humanity learned they were not alone in the galaxy. 5 years since they fought back and won. Elena touched the glass. Her reflection showed tired eyes and a scar across her left cheek. The aliens had taken her, family when they destroyed Chicago, 2 million people gone in a single day. She still had nightmares about it. "Commander, the council is waiting," said Captain Torres from behind her. Elena nodded and turned away from the window. "Any update on those energy readings?" "Yes, ma'am. They're getting stronger. The science team is worried." They walked down the hallway lined with screens showing Earth's new defense systems. Massive guns pointed to the sky from every continent. Hundreds of satellites formed a protective net around the planet, all built after the first attack. The United Earth Defense Council chamber was a large round room with 12 seats. Elena took her place as military leaders and government officials filed in. General Santiago, her boss, looked grim. "The energy signals match what we saw before the Orcs came," announced Dr. Marcus Way, pointing to charts on the main screen. "But they're stronger this time." "How much time do we have?" asked the president. "Hours, maybe less," Dr. Way replied. General Santiago stood up. "Then we need to decide about Protocol Omega now." The room grew quiet. Protocol Omega was their last resort, a weapon so terrible that many questioned if humans should even have built it. "We beat them once," said Elena. "We were unprepared then, and they still failed." "Because we got lucky," said Santiago. "They underestimated us. That won't happen again." Elena remembered the final battle. How humanity's old nuclear weapons had surprisingly worked against the alien shields. How people from every country fought together. Yes, millions died, but humans had shown they would not go quietly. "Wait," Dr. Way called out, staring at his tablet. "Something's happening." The main screen changed to show a live feed from the Mars outpost. A large tear seemed to open in space itself. A ship emerged, sleek and glowing blue, unlike the black spiked ships of the Orcs. "That's not Orcs design," Elena said, leaning forward. The strange ship sent a message in perfect English. "Greetings, defenders of Earth. The Galactic Conclave seeks audience." "It's a trick," said Santiago. But then the message continued. "We bring warning. The Orcs were merely scouts. Their defeat has drawn the attention of the entire galaxy, and not all come in peace." Elena felt her heart sink. One alien race had nearly destroyed humanity. Now more were coming. "Put me through to that ship," she said. "If the galaxy is watching, then it's time they understood one thing. Earth will not fall." Outside, the defense systems across the planet hummed to life, ready to protect humanity once more. The shuttle ride to Moonbase Alpha was tense. Elena sat across from the alien ambassador, studying him carefully. Threk looked like a large bird with blue feathers and 4 arms. His eyes were sharp and seemed to miss nothing. "Your defenses have improved greatly," Threk said, looking out at Earth through the window. "Impressive for such a young species." Dr. Marcus Way, sitting next to Elena, smiled politely. We learn quickly when we need to. The shuttle docked at the lunar base, Earth's most advanced military outpost. Built inside a crater, most of it lay hidden underground. Only after the first invasion had humans put serious resources into space. As they walked through the base, soldiers stood at attention. Elena noticed how Threk and the three other aliens looked at everything with great interest. Too much interest. "This way to the meeting room," Elena said, guiding them away from the more sensitive areas. The meeting room had a large round table with screens showing Earth and the surrounding space. General Santiago's face appeared on the main screen. He had stayed on Earth but would join remotely. "The Galactic Conclave welcomes Earth to the wider community," Threk began once everyone was seated. "Though we regret the circumstances of our first interactions." "You mean when the Arcsur killed millions of our people?" Elena asked coldly. Threk's feathers ruffled. "The Arcsur are mercenaries, hired by the Valoran Compact. They are just one small group in our galaxy. Doctor." Wei leaned forward. "And who are you exactly?" The alien explained that three major powers ruled the galaxy: the Galactic Conclave, the Valoran Compact, and the hegemony of aligned worlds. They fought through proxy wars and politics rather than direct conflict. "And now Earth has drawn everyone's attention," Threk continued. "By defeating the Arcsur, you've become interesting. What do you want from us?" General Santiago asked from the screen. "Protection," Threk said simply. "Join the Conclave. We can shield you from the others, who will come." Elena did not miss the hidden meaning. They thought humans were weak and needed saving. "And what would we give in return?" she asked. "Access to the technology you used against the Arcsur. Your methods were unexpected, primitive but effective." Elena felt her anger rise at the word primitive. She was about to respond when her tablet beeped. A private message from security. Strange energy readings coming from the aliens' suits. They were scanning the base. Meanwhile, far below the Pacific Ocean, inside the secret Marianas military complex, a team of engineers worked in a massive round chamber. In the center stood a strange machine covered in both human and alien technology. "General Santiago has given the order," the lead engineer announced. "Begin powering up Cerberus." Light filled the chamber as Earth's ultimate weapon quietly came to life. Most people didn't even know it existed, built from technology taken from the defeated Arcsur ships. Back on the moon, Dr. Wei noticed something on his screen. Dozens of small objects had entered the solar system from different directions. "What are those?" he asked, pointing. Threk looked uncomfortable. "Just routine probes. Nothing to concern yourselves with." But Elena knew better. They were being studied, assessed, hunted.